Hey folks, this is Gwyn. Welcome to the channel. In this video I wanted to go over on how to start tanking MythicPlus dungeons. Looking back at all the comments that I've received, I've noticed that many of you are hesitant to start tanking or just started out tanking in general. And I figured with all the spec and dungeon specific guides that are being thrown at you, some generic pointers on how to tank in general could be helpful. As you can see, the format of my video has changed. That's because I started out streaming last week. So if you want to say hello or ask some questions, you can find me live here on YouTube or on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday and Thursdays in the evening. Feel free to join in. Obviously, it is important to know your rotation and the defensives you have at your disposal. So looking up a spec guide can come a long way. If you look at my channel, I also have some dungeon specific tanking guides that will help you with the route and the damage choke points that you can expect. I also suggest that you start out slow. You're gonna probably need some gear drops, you're gonna need to farm flight stones and crests, and starting out with the lower dungeons will give you the experience to be confident climbing the ladders and doing some higher keys. As for add-ons go, obviously BigWigs or DBM will be helpful on all the mechanics you'll encounter in the dungeon, and next to that I also like to use GTFO, which will call out if you're standing in stuff you shouldn't be standing in. For the tank specific ones, the main one I can recommend is MDT, Mythic Dungeon Tools. This will allow you to plot out a route and get some good percentage. And also on RaiderIO, I'll put in the link down in the description, you can download some imports that will give you some easy to follow along routes. One of the most questions that I've been receiving on my previous videos is where I get my nameplates from. For this, I use an import I get from Quazii, another creator in the World of Warcraft sphere. I'll put a link to his website down below. He has some easy to follow along steps which you can use to import it into the Plater add-on. All of those that I mentioned, I personally use CurseForge client to download those. I guess let's jump to a dungeon and I'll explain as we go along. One of the nice things obviously from being a tank is that it is quite easy to get into groups. This brings me to another add-on actually I want to recommend, which is the Premade group filter. This will allow you to filter on the dungeon you would like to do. You can basically just choose and you can filter out the groups that do not have a tank yet. And personally I like to find groups that already have a healer, since they are pretty rare these days. That just assures that you are quickly up and running. Also, this add-on allows you to filter out the keystone levels you would like to do. So for example, I can put in 7-8 over here and I'll get the dungeons that match that keystone level. Let's see if we can find a group to join. Since I want to explain, I won't go too high. See what we have. Well, as a tank, people often look at you to call out the bloodlusts. In the lower keys, people do not often expect too much. But in the higher keys, and you'll probably learn by experience, you'll be the shot caller on that one. Just be aware that some dungeons, like Cinderbrew, or sometimes Floodgates, or something like that, have some bloodlust pulls. Okay, that one got pulled. Let's just kill it, get it done with. One of the important things to keep in mind of is doing the interrupts. Personally, I like to make it my job to do the mandatory ones. There are some interrupts that can basically wipe the group. So if you use the tank, focus on that one. That will just increase the success chance of your run. Mostly a pack has like one of those mandatory interrupts, sometimes two. But you only need one DPS to help you out then, so be aware of that. Obviously, next to staying alive, one of the important jobs you have as a tank is your positioning. Be aware that some mobs cleave, so you don't want them to cleave accidentally on your team members. Don't stand near the stuff that you don't want pulled. People often complain about ninja pulls, but making sure you don't stand too close to those it just lessens the chance it will happen. Chain pulling definitely is a thing, but only do so if you notice that your group can actually handle it. In this case, the DK seems to love standing in front of the mob. Also keep in mind that positioning is very important, so not standing near the stuff that hurts your group can go a long way. In this case I got ourselves cornered. I'm stuck. Also, something I'm still struggling with sometimes is actually standing still. I sometimes forget that people don't have like 24 keybinds beneath their thumb on their mouse. So if I move around too much, which is easily done as a Vengeance Demon Hunter, then that can basically cause them having issues with their rotation and just doing less damage. So the more damage they are able to do, the faster the dungeon goes, so standing still as much as you can just is very helpful. Also make sure that you always focus the priority target. Often DPS have you on focus, so if they see you target switching, they will be faster on those targets. Just a small thing that can help. Personally, I like to have the health bars of my team members above their heads. That's one of the biggest indications you have whether the group is struggling or not, if they are avoiding the damage as they should, or whether the healer can keep up with healing everything. Also, don't stress out on ninja pulls. Especially if there's some good pumpers in there, they're often anxious to just keep on going. Don't get tilted, just roll with the punches. Don't start chatting or typing away, that just wastes time. Just go with it. Do your best, and if it eventually leads to a wipe, then you can call it out, but otherwise it's fine. If you just stay calm, if it causes a problem, the healer will start complaining. Make sure that you do the priority interrupts. In this case, the Soulbinder at Folly, it's the only one that is important in this pack, so me as a tank just make it my job to interrupt that one. Also, always keep an eye out on the healer's mana. Sometimes if the DPS is good, they want to just keep on pulling, but you set the pace of the dungeon, you know, and if you see that the healer is struggling or is low on mana, just ask, just wait, give him the chance to drink.
Volley.
This wasn't supposed to be pulled. If you know up front you're gonna need some cooldown, some big bursts, or you're gonna take a big spike of damage, as you experience, you'll notice where people expect big pulls. Just save your defensives and make sure that you don't die. Comes a long way. You know, it's a game, you know, you gotta have fun. So don't get tilted. Don't start typing if something doesn't go your way. Be positive. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. I think that's important as well, especially on those lower keys. Like I mentioned before, just climb slowly. Just take your time to climb, get some gear, farm those flight stones and crests. You know, it gets some experience in. If you screw up some mechanic, people tend to be pretty forgiving on the lower keys. If you don't have a priority interrupt, just interrupt everything you can. Everything that you interrupt is just less damage for the healer to heal. And don't get seduced to be rushed. I mean, going fast is just prone to make mistakes. Just take it easy, it's a game, it should be fun. Also, I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but it is important to know when you can expect the damage. An important part of playing World of Warcraft is anticipation. You anticipate the damage that is coming, you anticipate the moments where you can do a lot of damage. So knowing when this happens, you can basically set yourself up for success. That's literally it. If you only respond to everything, the key to improving is anticipation. Knowing when happens what and how to set up for it. And if you don't do that, then, or if you get caught up every time, it won't improve. I know this site does a lot of damage, And because I know I can basically just set myself up for it. You know, he's gonna do it in 2 seconds and I'm gonna pop a cooldown on him. Look, and there you go. It doesn't do any damage.
Frontal.
But by anticipating it, I don't have to worry about that mechanic.
Defensive.
And I can easily deal with the other mechanic as well. So here I know I need to move him. We have some charging mobs. We're not in its path. So here I know these will be casting these mobs. I will silence them so that they don't cause any trouble. Oh. And there we go. That's some deaths, but yeah. And that's it. A GG goes a long way. There we go. So far, that's what I had in mind. So that was it for the video. I hope this has been in any means entertaining or helpful. Like I said, I will be live here on YouTube and on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday and Thursday. So feel free to jump in, say hi, ask questions or just chill out. Also, it would mean a lot to me if you would subscribe to the channel or follow me over on Twitch. So I can grow and finally reach that 1K sub count. That would be awesome. So for now, thanks for watching and you'll see me in the next video. Bye bye.